Namaskar guys. Subject English. Chapter number 1. Fun They Had. This chapter is written by Isaac Asimov. The present story unfolds the picture of a future school where the mechanical teacher will teach the student in the upcoming time. The chapter it is related to the schools and educational system. Let me take in the previous history. Before so many years ago, the disciple used to stay in the ashram and where Guru used to teach them. Simply the disciples, they listen the topic which is explained by their Guru, they memorize it, and later on they implement in their day-to-day life. So such a system was going on in ancient India. Right now, at the present time, because of the progress, you are getting education in the school, where you are getting the printed books, various type of materials, a man that is the teacher who is teaching you in the class. But you believe in the 22nd century, that means in the upcoming future, there will be no schools, no printed textbooks. Then how the students will get the education? The present chapter make a difference between the present education and the future education. Now you see the diagram which is given here. You can get a little bit imagination of the school of the future, where the student will have a virtual classroom, where everything is present at her home. The learning, they will learn through the computers, where the robotic teacher, not a human being, the robotic teacher will teach the students. And instead of the printed books, they will have moving e-textbooks, electronic textbooks we call it. This story has been presented by two major characters. One it is a Margie and the other is Tommy. Margie is an 11 years old girl and Tommy is 13 years old boy. Both are twins. Margie is a junior and Tommy is a senior. Let's begin the chapter. Margie even wrote about it that night in her diary. On the page headed 17th May 2157, she wrote, "Today Tommy found a real book." Here Margie is a habitual of writing a diary. And before she goes to her bed, she note down in her diary, "Tommy today found a real book." Real book means printed book. And the day is 17th May 2157. Right now 21st century is going on. And such a type of education will be provided in 22nd century. That means after 137 years. When Margie found such a printed books, really it is a matter of surprise for her. And because of that one, she wrote this poem in her diary. It was a very old book. Margie's grandfather once said that when he was a little boy, his grandfather told him that There was a time when all the stories were printed on paper. Margie had heard a story about the printed book from her grandfather's grandfather, that is, Margie's great grandfather. When he was a child, he used to go into the school and where the students were using the printed books. And man as a teacher, human being, was teaching them. They turned the pages which were yellow and crinkly. Yellow. The meaning is with many folds or lines. Once whether we use the books right now, the books whether it is new, so definitely its color it is white. But when it's become old, its pages turn into yellow. And there are so many folds on the different pages. So here, as after using the book so frequently, so definitely the color of the book it is changed. They turned the pages which were yellow and crinkly, and it was awfully funny to read words that stood still instead of moving the way they were supposed to on a screen, you know. And then when they turned it back to the pages before, it had the same words on it that it had when they read it for first time. Generally, when they read the books, the words on the books are still. They are not moving. But when we are using the computer and we are using the e-books, so on the television, on the computer screen, the words of the e-books are moving. So such a type of things does not happen when we use the real book. Gay, said Tommy. What waste when you are through with the book, you just throw it away, I guess. Our television screen must have had millions of books on it, and it's good for plenty more. I wouldn't throw it away. Now here, both the friends, Margie and Tommy, they describe the difference between the printed book and the ebooks. After reading the printed books, once whether we do all the information by heart, so really that book it is useless for us, and we throw it away. But ebooks, we can't do so because it remains in the computer. And at a time, whether we want to take the help of number of books on the television, on the computer screen, you can utilize number of ebooks at the same time. Such things we cannot do with the printed book. Only one book at a time is available in our hand. Same with mine, said Margie. She was 11 and hadn't seen as many telebooks as Tommy had. He was 30. Here the age difference is that Margie was 11 years old girl and Tommy was 13 years old boy. And definitely being the senior, Tommy was a senior, so definitely he might have used a number of books in comparison of the Margie. She said, where did you find it? In the house. He pointed without looking because he was busy reading in the attic. Maggie asked the question to Tommy, where did you find this printed book? Tommy replied that, I found this book in the attic of my house. Attic, a room which was situated at the top of your house. And generally such a kind of room it is used for a store room, meaning it is already given here. What's about school? What's it about? Tommy replied that. It's about school. The printed book which is written about the school, which was found by Tommy from the attic. Margie was scornful. Schools? What's there to write about schools? I hate school. Margie did not like schools. And when he heard from the topic that the book it is related to the school, so she becomes surprised. Can anyone write a book on a schools? So why did Margie hate school? In point number third, see, she said that Margie always hated school, but now she hated it more than ever. The mechanical teacher had been giving her test after test in geography, and she had been doing words and words until her mother had shaken her head sorrowfully and sent for the county inspector. Why did Margie hate him? The reason it is given. Because the mechanical teacher in the subject geography was giving plenty of tests to Margie, and Margie could not understand this subject properly, and therefore her performance was not quite satisfactory. She was getting less and less marks, and because of this one, Margie's mother became disappointed. Therefore, she called the county inspector, who looks after the computers. For example, as we have taken uh, uh, the, the connection of a TV at our home, and when the TV it is not working, generally we call the concerning person. Similarly, this county inspector, he is the in charge of all these computers. And when there is any problem occurs in the computer, to the student, they call this county inspector. In point number 4, he said, he was a round little man with a red face and a whole box of tools with dials and wires. Ultimately, the county inspector who reported at the home of Margie, whose physical appearance he is a little bit round little man and his face was red. Uh, in his hand, there was a heavy box which contains lot of wires and the different types of tools. He smiled at Margie and gave her an apple. After getting entry in the house of Margie, he looked toward the Margie. He gave a little bit smile to Margie, and also he gave an apple. Sorry for the interruption. That took the teacher apart. Margie had hoped he wouldn't know how to pull it together again. But he knew how all right, and after an hour or so, there it was again, large and black and ugly, with a big screen on which all the lessons were solved and the questions were asked. That wasn't so bad. The county inspector was very expert in repairing the work. First of all, he separated the robotic teacher from the computer, and a lot of wires were there. Margie was expecting that the county inspector could not get success in repairing this robotic teacher. And if he did not replace it again in the computer, he might have not read the geography subject. But within an hour, the county inspector has repaired the robotic teacher which is related to geography. The part Margie had most hated most was the slot where she had to put homework and the test papers. Why did Margie did not like school? One more reason is that the slot of the computer, this is the very important part of the computer which Margie not like at all, because again and again she had to put the homework and test paper which was given to her by the robotic teacher. She always had to write them out in a punch code. Punch. What is the meaning of punch code? The meaning of punch code is the language of computer, or we call it computing language. They had made her learn when she was 6 years old. Margie knows the language of computer when she was 6 years old. It means that she having a lot of experience using the language of computers. And the mechanical teacher calculated the marks in no time. To do the homework, to give the test, she had to do a plenty of work. But when she put her homework within a short time, the robotic teacher checked it and gave the result. Because of this one, the slot which was disliked by Margie. The inspector had smiled after he was finished and patted Margie's head. He said to her mother, "It's not the little girl's fault, Mrs. Jones." Mrs. Jones is the name of Margie's mother. "I think the geography sector was cleared a little too quick." County inspector says to mother, "Okay, this is not the fault of a Margie, but the speed of the geography teacher was a little bit high. It is not at the level of a Margie, as Margie was 11 years old. I have slowed it up to an average 10 years later. Actually, the overall pattern of her progress is quite satisfactory." And he patted Margie's head again. We can imagine that Margie is not a brilliant student. She is an average student. She is neither a brilliant student nor below average student, but she is an average student. And as a result of this one, her result, which is very poor in the geography subject. Margie was disappointed. Why Margie was disappointed? Because the county inspector had repaired the geography teacher. And because of seeing the result, she became disappointed. And again, she had to learn the geography subject. Again, she had to give the test. Again, she had to give the homework. And therefore, she became disappointed. She had been hoping they would take the teacher away altogether. They had once taken Tommy's teacher away for nearly a month because the history sector had blanked out completely. Blanked out completely. Erased completely, we can say. Margie thought that once upon a time the Tommy's history teacher was not working very well. And at that time, the county inspector took the history teacher out from the computer. Similarly, she was hoping her geography teacher might be taken out by the county inspector. But such a thing does not happen with Margie. So she said to Tommy, now again there is a conversation between the two friends. Why would anyone write about the school? Now we can imagine that why did Margie get the school? So she became surprised seeing the printed book first time in her life. Okay, why anyone could write on the schools? Tommy said that. Tommy looked at her with a very superior eyes because it's not our kind of schools, stupid. This is the old kind of school that they had hundred of years ago. He added loftily, pronouncing the word carefully, centuries ago. He was hurt. Well, I don't know what kind of schools they had all the times ago. She read the book over his shoulder for a while. Then she said, anyway, they had a teacher. Here you can see in the picture the conversation which is going on between the Tommy and Margie. Margie is quite enthusiastic girl. She was eager to know more about the previous schools and the printed books. And Comparatively to Margie, Tommy had a little bit more knowledge because she is a senior. So it is a matter of proud for Tommy also at the time of giving informations about the school and the printed books to the Margie. There is an image, Margie now imaging the previous school, Cambridge. The, all the students, they are sitting under the roof of the same class, and the human being, the teacher is teaching the same thing to all the students who were sitting in the class. Such a imagination it is going on in the mind of a Margie. Sure, they had a teacher, but it wasn't a regular teacher. It was a man. Now, Tommy said that definitely they had a teacher, but it was not a regular teacher. Regular teacher means here a robotic teacher. In the olden school, it means right now, as you are getting education in the school, and we are teaching you as a man, so you can understand this situation quite better. It was a man, such information was given by Tommy to Margie. A man? How could a man be a teacher? Well, he just told the boys and girls things and gave them homework and asked them questions. Tommy said. Margie was unable to believe that how can a man be a teacher and teach the student? But Tommy said that yes, man is teaching in the class and he is also asking a lot of questions and giving a homework to the student. A man isn't smart enough. Margie argued with Tommy. A man teacher is not as smart as the robotic teacher. Listening this question, Tommy replied that sure he is. Means robotic teacher, sorry, the man teacher is also as smart as the robotic teacher. My father knows as much as my teacher. So his father has as much knowledge as his teacher has. He knows almost as much. I betcha. Betcha. Let's take a bet. Betcha. The meaning it is already given here. The meaning of betcha means bet. When you do not agree with someone else, that time says, let's take a bet. Margie wasn't prepared to dispute that. We know it very well that being a junior, Margie having not as much knowledge as Tommy has, and therefore he does not want to discuss this matter on the real teacher. They had a special building and all the kids went there. Again, Tommy gave a little bit more information. All the students right now you are coming in the school and getting the education in the school under the roof of the same class. And all the kids learn the same things. Sure, if they were the same age, and in the class, all of you are having the same age, and at a time, you are learning the same thing which is taught by the teacher, real teacher in the class. So about this situation, the present situation, you might be quite well aware. But my mother says the teacher has to be adjusted, fit the mind of each boy and girl it teaches, and that each kind has to be taught differently. Margie's mother was told to the Margie, according to the level of the student, the teacher has to teach. Only then the student can able to understand. Otherwise, no. So there is his question in the mind of Margie. How can a real teacher adjust himself according to the level of the teacher? And here it is the end of today's lecture, guys. We will see in the next videos.